The cameras were rolling, the stage lights warm and glowing as Meghan Markle took her seat across from Kelly Clarkson on The Kelly Clarkson Show. The audience buzzed with anticipation, fully expecting a heartfelt and breezy conversation. Meghan, dressed in a sleek cream-colored blazer and tailored trousers, smiled graciously at the crowd before turning toward Kelly. At first, everything seemed normal. Questions about her children, upcoming projects, and life after stepping back from royal duties. Meghan responded gracefully, poised as ever. But then the mood began to shift, almost imperceptibly at first. Kelly, known for her charm but also her refreshing bluntness, casually pivoted. "You know," she began, swirling the coffee in her oversized mug, "a lot of people feel you walked away from a life that millions dream of. Do you ever wonder if maybe you gave up too soon?" Meghan blinked. The smile faltered just a fraction of a second. "I didn't give up," she said, her tone still calm. "I chose peace. There's a difference." Kelly nodded, but pushed further. "But what about duty? Legacy? I mean, some say you turned your back on an institution that stood for hundreds of years. That's not just a family, it's a symbol." There was a subtle shift in Meghan's posture. She crossed one leg over the other, adjusted her blazer, and her gaze sharpened ever so slightly. Symbols can be powerful, but they can also be used to mask dysfunction. A ripple ran through the audience. Meghan's words hung in the air, heavier than before. Kelly tilted her head, narrowing her eyes, not in malice, but in curiosity. "Is that how you really see the royal family? Dysfunctional?" Meghan didn't answer right away. She took a breath, searching Kelly's face. "Let's be clear. I'm not attacking individuals. I'm talking about a system. One that's slow to change, that struggles with inclusion, and that, for a long time, didn't protect me." Kelly nodded again, sensing the shift in tone but unwilling to let it go. "But aren't you still in the spotlight now? With your Netflix deals, book deals, podcasts, you're still very much part of the public narrative. Some say you left one stage just to build another." Meghan stiffened. "I'm using my voice. That's not the same as being used by an institution for optics. I walked away from control, not from communication." Kelly raised an eyebrow. "But isn't it fair to say that you and Harry have profited?" "That's when it happened." Meghan leaned forward, her voice suddenly quieter but far more intense. "Would you ask a man that? If a man left a toxic environment and spoke out about it, would he be accused of profiting from his pain?" Kelly opened her mouth but didn't respond immediately. The tension was unmistakable now. Even the stage crew was holding their breath. "Look," Kelly said finally, her voice softer. "I'm just trying to understand. People are curious, they want to know your side, but they also want honesty." "I've been honest," Meghan said, her jaw tightening. "But honesty doesn't mean submitting to interrogation. This was supposed to be a conversation, not a cross-examination." Kelly tried to lighten the mood. "I get it. I really do. But you have to understand, people feel you've been on both sides of the fence. They want to know which side you're really on." That was the final straw. Meghan sat back for a moment, visibly collecting herself. She looked directly at Kelly, her expression unreadable. Then, with slow precision, she stood up. "You invited me here to talk. But this wasn't a talk, it was a trap." The audience gasped, caught between shock and uncertainty. Meghan turned, adjusted her jacket, and walked briskly off stage without another word. Kelly remained seated, frozen for a moment before looking toward her crew with wide eyes. "Well," she said, letting out a slow breath, "that just happened." The room was stunned silent for a few seconds before Kelly stood and signaled for a commercial break. But it was too late. Within minutes, the moment was all over social media. A backstage crew member had recorded Meghan's dramatic exit and uploaded it to TikTok before the segment had even aired. Meghan Markle just walked off the Kelly Clarkson show. The caption read, accompanied by the hastily filmed clip of Meghan's heels clacking against the studio floor. The video went viral instantly. Twitter exploded. Instagram feeds were flooded. Hashtags like #MeghanStormsOff, #Kelly'sMeghan, and #RoyalWalkout began trending worldwide. The interview hadn't just gone off script, it had become a cultural lightning bolt. And it was only the beginning. Backstage, the mood was anything but calm. Meghan Markle, still visibly fuming, was rushed into her private dressing room by her team. The door closed swiftly behind her. She stood in the center of the room for a moment, her jaw clenched, hands still trembling slightly from the adrenaline. Her assistant offered a bottle of water, which she waved off. Instead, Meghan grabbed her phone, scrolling through missed messages before pressing the call icon on Harry's contact. "She baited me," Meghan said as soon as he answered. Her voice was steady, but her eyes glistened with the heat of frustration. "I knew at the moment," she said, legacy. She wanted a moment. And she got it. Harry's voice was calm but concerned on the other end. "Come home. You don't owe them anything." Meghan nodded silently, even though he couldn't see her. Meanwhile, back on the set, Kelly Clarkson remained seated in her signature teal armchair, trying to regain the tone of the show. She turned to the camera with a half-smile. "Well, that was unexpected," she said with an awkward chuckle. The audience, still recovering from the tension, offered a polite ripple of applause. The producers quickly cut to commercial, and Kelly exhaled, rubbing her forehead. "What happened?" one of the producers whispered urgently into her ear. Kelly shook her head. She wasn't ready for that conversation. "You think we pushed too far?" another asked. Kelly glanced toward the now vacant guest chair. "We asked questions people wanted answers to. If that's too much, maybe they shouldn't agree to interviews." Outside the studio, the world was already watching. The viral clip of Meghan storming off the stage had reached over 10 million views on TikTok within 2 hours. News outlets were already running headlines, many sensationalized beyond recognition. Meltdown on daytime TV. Meghan Markle storms off mid-interview. Kelly calls Meghan out. Sparks fly on live show. Royal exit 2.0. Meghan walks out. Again. Within hours, fan camps formed on social media. On Twitter, hashtags like #TeamMeghan and #TeamKelly created digital battlefields. Some praised Meghan's composure and refusal to be interrogated. "She's not a punching bag. She set boundaries. Good for her," one user wrote. Others were more critical. "She wants the attention but not the questions. You can't have it both ways." By the following morning, Meghan's team released a carefully worded statement. The Duchess agreed to appear on the Kelly Clarkson show with the understanding that the conversation would be respectful and in good faith. Unfortunately, the interview took a tone and direction that was both unexpected and deeply personal. She chose to remove herself from the situation rather than continue in discomfort. Kelly Clarkson's production company was quick to respond. "We are committed to honest and respectful discussions with all our guests. We regret that the Duchess chose to leave the interview early. Our audience values authenticity, and we will continue to provide it." The back and forth only intensified public interest. Ratings for the episode soared to record-breaking levels when it aired the following evening, with over 14 million viewers tuning in live. The full interview, including the controversial exchange, was released online, with only minimal edits. Analysts and talk show hosts dissected every second like it was a political debate. Body language experts were brought in by entertainment channels to decode the tension. Notice how Meghan's shoulders stiffened at the 12-minute mark, one expert commented. That's when she felt cornered. Psychologists weighed in too, some siding with Meghan's emotional intelligence, others calling her reaction avoidant. Behind the scenes, Kelly took the attention in stride, but not without reflection. Maybe I could have worded things differently, she admitted to her staff. But I won't apologize for asking real questions. That's why people tune in. Meanwhile, Meghan kept a low profile. She canceled 2 upcoming interviews and skipped a charity event she had planned to attend. Instead, she spent time at home with her children and Harry, who was reportedly furious over how the interview had been handled. On Instagram, Meghan eventually posted a cryptic quote. "Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away." The comment section was a war zone, some praising her strength, others accusing her of playing the victim. The event didn't just trigger a media storm, it reignited a larger cultural debate. What do we expect from public figures, especially women? Do we value their authenticity, or are we simply waiting for them to break? Meghan had walked off, but the fire she sparked raged on. Panel discussions, podcasts, and think pieces debated her every word. News networks booked royal commentators for primetime segments. Even late-night comedians couldn't resist. Jimmy Fallon joked. Kelly asked Meghan one too many questions and boom, she vanished faster than a British press apology. As the buzz slowly began to cool, one thing remained clear. Meghan Markle and Kelly Clarkson had delivered one of the most talked about television moments of the decade. And whether you loved it or hated it, no one could look away. The storm wasn't just about a walk-off, it was about control, perception, and the complicated price of being heard in a world that refuses to listen quietly.